So shooters and reloaders out there, Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to the hot lead zone, and my recent video on sizing and the need to size or no need to size cast bullet powder coated bullets has caused quite a stir. There's some great shooters, very experienced and knowledgeable on both sides of the issue, saying yes, we have to size our cast bullets whether they're powder coated or not, and the other side that says there's no need to size the cast bullet within certain parameters. We don't need to size. So first of all, let me ask you a question. Can you tell if these bullets have been sized or not? The answer is yes, they've been sized. And the way you can tell is all the driving bands are perfectly smooth and they are flat and they've been engraved. All those driving bands between the grooves have been worked and they're smooth and regular. Now when you look at regular cast bullets, it's even easier to tell that they've been sized. Again, look at those driving bands. They've all been made uniform by the sizing process. You can even see the little striations, the vertical striations on, like the bullet on the right hand side. You can see how it's been sized. So all those driving bands have been sized. Also, whenever you see grease like that in the grease groove, chances are it's been sized, along with those flat driving bands. And if you see a gas check like the one on the left, the chances are very strong it's been sized. Now, of course, these are unsized cast bullets. They're not sized, but they're load ready, and the reason is because the dimensions of them are correct to be able to be used unsized. Well, you can tell they're unsized because the driving bands are not worked. They're dull. The bullet on the right is a tumble lube designed by Lee, and that automatically means that it's not sized. Because if you try and size those bullets, you wind up with those little grooves being obliterated. So they don't work well being sized. They're designed to be used unsized. Now, one of the foremost companies in bullet casting is Lee Precision. And this is their instruction sheet with their 6 cavity molds. And you know, on the issue of sizing bullets or not, Lee doesn't help. Let's look what it says. Sizing bullets. Well, the first statement's nice. 0.001 over the standard jacketed bullet diameter is the best for sizing diameters. Well, that's a rule of thumb, and it works pretty well. Note that it doesn't say under. Cast bullets need to be on the bigger side, not the smaller side. Smaller size than standard is a disaster. You get leading and you get bad accuracy. You need bullets that are at least 0.001 to 0.0015, even 0.002 will work over the standard jacketed bullet diameter. Now, if you want to fine tune that, that's 0.001 to 0.002 over the groove diameter of automatic pistols and rifles, and 0.0015 to 0.002 bigger than the chamber throats or the cylinder throats of revolvers. That's more fine-tuned. Then notice that Lee gives an absolute in the second statement. All lead bullets must be lubricated. That is an absolute. But then everything else in the statement gets real muddy. Lee says it is not absolutely necessary to size all cast bullets. Now, how muddy is that? What that means is, if you want to size all of your cast bullets, well, Lee's not saying that's necessary. But that means you can size or you can not size. Bullets must be sized if they are so large that they expand the case too much to freely enter the gun's chamber. Now, that statement in the Lee instruction manual is important because Lee is the foremost manufacturer that's advocating not sizing cast bullets. Richard Lee, back in the 1970s, the early 1970s, came out with these tumble lube design bullet molds that were designed to drop bullets that are closer to the manufacturer's specifications of what guns are standardized to use. Because of this standardization, he could get his molds to drop bullets closer to the specified diameters, therefore not requiring sizing. So these are just some of the loads that I've done with the cast bullets that are powder coated that did not need sizing. And most of them did not, because these are all Lee designs. But number one, you notice that the cases are not expanded so much that they would not chamber. In fact, you can barely see any expansion caused by the bullet. So that's already one clue that the bullets are not oversized. Another, of course, that we mic these bullets when we are working with them and we know what the diameters are and they happen to be right where we want them. For instance, the 45 Colt bullets here, they're like at 453. That's perfect diameter. No need to size those. And this one here, the 44 Magnum, it's at 431 or 4305. And that's perfect because 430 is fine for what we need. And so is this one here. There are no bad bulges in these cases caused by the bullet, because the bullets are not oversized and they didn't need to be sized to get them to be the right size. So Lee says that the loads should freely enter the chambers. I think that's free enough. Here's another test. That's no sizing to those bullets. Now, of course, these loads have the new bullets with the yellow Harbor Freight, and they were sized. And of course, they drop in nicely also. And the reason why is because these bullets were oversized. And they had to be sized back down to 452. And that puts them into the same range as these bullets here that didn't need sizing. These did. So it's like Lee's saying, if you have to size them because they're too big, you size them. Here's my prized Model 25 Smith & Wesson 45 Colt. And here are a couple of 45 Colt rounds. Let's see if they drop in okay. They sure do. And they'll drop out too. These bullets were not sized when they were loaded. Now notice Lee gets real muddy here. Sizing sometimes helps accuracy by making the bullet uniform in diameter. This ensures uniform start pressure and better accuracy. Well, if the last statement's true, then we better go ahead and size them all. But what the last statement says is this ensures uniform size pressure and better accuracy, but that doesn't mean that you don't get uniform start pressure and better accuracy with unsized bullets. It's just that if you size them, you get a better chance to get that. All of this ammunition and much more has been assembled unsized powder coated cast bullets, and I've shot a lot of unsized non-powder coated cast bullets, and they shoot very well unsized. Just like Lee is saying, you don't have to absolutely size all cast bullets. So why is there this less filling tastes great thing going on? And that is because there are two camps of cast bullet users. One camp is the traditional camp, and that one, they like to have the deeper traditional grease grooves that hold a lot of grease. And they like to size their bullets because that's part of the lubing process. I used to be one of these traditional cast bullet users. I sized everything. It was a lot of work, a lot of time doing all of that. But I liked the results, and I liked the way the bullets came out with the traditional method. For many, many years, I shunned the Lee tumble lube system. And I didn't like the Allox because it was kind of sticky and it didn't look good. Didn't have that nice silver bullet. And these little tiny grease grooves. It's kind of like you can't get any grease in there. When I run these through my sizer lubricator, you can't get grease in there very well. And a lot of times, even if you size 1,000ths off of those, you wind up obliterating a lot of those grooves. They're not the same. Small to begin with, and they get smaller. So I didn't like these. They're not traditional. And I avoided all those molds for many, many years. There are lots and lots of excellent shooters out there like Andrew James, who tells me that he sizes his 9mm bullets and his bullets shoot like laser beams. I think that's more because of him and his shooting skill, but it doesn't matter. He likes to size his bullets and they give him great results, and the recommendation there is just fine. Keep doing that. More good shooting too. You're not going to get Andrew James to warm up to these kind of bullets. Again, because they're not traditional. Remember, even Lee says sizing sometimes helps accuracy by making the bullet uniform in diameter. This ensures uniform start pressure and better accuracy. But I can't help remembering an article a long time ago from a noted gun writer. I can't remember who it was because it was so long ago. And I didn't bother to save that article because I didn't know I'd be doing these kind of videos later. But that article said that the best performance and accuracy of a cast bullet is when sizing is not necessary. Now, that doesn't mean we're shooting big bullets. It means that we cast them the right size and you don't have to size them. And if you do that, if you have that, you got a better chance for performance and accuracy if you don't have to size them. But it doesn't mean that sizing them won't make them more accurate. Doesn't mean it will, though. So the other school is the New Age school, which is looking at bullets that you don't have to size, saving all that time. And look at these. These are unsized. They're not sized at all. They happen to be too big, but suppose they were not too big. And you wouldn't have to size them, and that would save a lot of time and effort. Plus, in testing so far, you might get a 2-inch group at 25 yards with these, and if you size them, you get a 1-inch group. Well, what that does is it translates out at 12.5 yards to hitting within a 1/2 inch of your point of aim with unsized bullets. Well, that might be all the accuracy we need if we're shooting steel and we want to shoot 500 rounds a night. We don't want to spend a lot of time sizing those bullets. We want to go ahead and crank them out on our Dillon. That 1/2 inch of a point of aim, that's plenty of accuracy to shoot steel. But if you're like Andrew James and you want to shoot laser beams, or if you're like me and you want to split a playing card in 2 shots, and if you're really hot, you can split 3 in a row with 3 shots, well, we need to have a little more accuracy than we can get with unsized properly. Turns out that I don't size them when I don't have to because I like to save that time also. So if I get a hit on a playing card 1 out of 3, that's plenty happy for me because the rest of the time the bullets are hitting right next to the card anyway. There's still lots of traditionalists out there. Absolutely nothing wrong with them sizing their bullets and being very comfortable doing that and being very happy doing that.